for everyone. And then I'm just going to
This meeting is being recorded.
Our participants one last time. So I just ask that anyone who is not part of the presentation team just mute themselves until they finish the presentation one full time, and then we can open it up to any questions and then go back to any part of the presentation. Okay? With that, I'm just going to mute myself.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and begin. So just for everyone who's signed in, this is a community meeting for Green Flash Delivery, proposed marijuana delivery operator license. This is a type of license where the company would be allowed to purchase legal marijuana products and store them on site. There will be no on-site consumption, no on-site sales to consumers. There'll be no processing, no cultivation, no odors, and zero public component to this. It's strictly a distribution business. The team is myself and Dwayne Edward Osborne. I'd like to give a chance to just have my partner introduce himself.
How you doing, family? My name is Dwayne Edward Osborne. I'm the co-founder and DEO of Green Flash Delivery. I'm a Boston City baby, born in Boston City Hospital. Proud son of Cephas and Lucille Osborne from Boston. I have 9 brothers and sisters. I'm a MECO graduate from MECO. Went on to Morris Brown College in Atlanta, Georgia, where I started my career as an entrepreneur in Atlanta. Over the last 35 years, I've traveled the world working with some of the premier artists from Earth, Wind & Fire, working with Universal Soul Circus, Black Expo USA, to name a few of the prominent businesses that I've worked with. After that, I decided to come back to Boston and help my father out and work with him and his community work that he was doing here in Boston. And we opened up Just Tea down in Nubian Station, along with we started Black Network Development Association. As the direct result of all of this, my community support, we got into the cannabis business through a good friend of mine referred me to it. And over the last 2 years, I've had the pleasure of meeting my business partner, who have so much in common. We traveled, and Mario has the same will of stressing this wealth gap, because we know in Boston we have the medium net worth of non-immigrants, blacks, of $8 and whites of 247,000, and this social equity platform is a way of closing that gap. And with that, I'd like to bring on my business partner, Comrie. We call each other Every and Ivory, my man. Come on, Mario.
Thanks, Dwayne. My name is Mario Signori Jr., co-founder and COO of Green Flash Delivery. I was born in Boston, raised in a Boston manufacturing and distribution business. I was running operations by the time I was 16 years old. I left after going to Northeastern University. I took off to California, where I worked in the TV and film industry. I filmed in over 60 different countries. I've made TV shows, movies, commercials. Used to working with crews of 100 people in very difficult environments with tight schedules and getting jobs done on time and getting everybody home safely. I spent a lot of time volunteering to nonprofits in the US, Africa, and Cambodia. My plan is to bring a progressive, community-minded business here to Boston that will work with the community to help improve security and safety, bring businesses back, and help narrow the wealth gap between Black and white Bostonians. Dwayne, would you like me to just run through it?
Sure, go ahead, Mario.
Our vision, let's just say that diversity, our vision is to become the best distributor of safely delivering cannabis legally to people here in Boston, while we support our community and support marginalized people from the Boston area and help create inclusion into the cannabis industry. We've made diversity and inclusion the pillars of Green Flash Delivery. Our goal is to increase diversity in legal cannabis. And to do that, we plan on hiring drivers with former records quarries and helping them expunge their past cannabis records. Right now, Green Flash is 51% Black owned. We'll have a hiring preference towards diverse management and staff. This will be an ongoing practice, not just to get started, but for the life of the business. Our goal is to create an environmentally friendly company that supports employees and our community. We'll have partnerships. Actually, we already have partnerships in place with local nonprofits that support the creation of wealth and ownership for Black Bostonians. A lot of the impact of our business, we can talk about it a lot, but really it doesn't mean anything unless we have some metrics in place and some way to measure that. The goal, we have two things. We have a positive impact and a diversity plan in place. And the goal of those are to make a difference in our community. And to measure that, we will determine its effectiveness by annually evaluating our hiring process and collecting the metrics on our workforce to measure diversity, employee retention, and promotions. We have an employment plan in place. To operate this business, we're going to need to hire drivers, operation managers, dispatchers, inventory managers, and security personnel. We'll have a hiring preference towards staff from diverse backgrounds within the community. We're looking to hire people locally from the area. We'll have a preference towards veterans and people who had certain types of quarries that we can help work with and help them expunge those records. All of our staff will go through a state and company training. All of our drivers will be trained to be safe and responsible stewards for our company. A big part of this is community support. We have a lot of community support, but we want to support our community as well. So we have goals in place to reduce barriers to minorities who want to get into the cannabis industry. We plan on mentoring, training, and assisting individuals who are facing systemic barriers. We're looking to support local Black Bostonians. We're working with local Black Boston nonprofits right now that are in place to help narrow the wealth gap, and also working to help expunge records. And really our goal, sorry, someone's not muted, but one of our big things is to support Black-owned businesses, our contracts and people we work with going forward. Let me take you through this. Part of the process here is the location, making sure it's safe and responsible. So our site will have no on-site sales or consumption. There'll be no signage, no cash registers, no customers, and no public access. The only people allowed in will be a few employees who have access to our site. Let's talk about our security plan here. We have a vehicle security plan and a site plan designed by cannabis industry experts. We're working with proprietary fleet management technology to track all of our vehicles and products in real time. Along with GPS tracking, we'll have locked storage compartments in every vehicle. There will be 4 cameras per vehicle. We'll have 2 drivers in each vehicle, and each driver will be wearing a body camera and have a camera on them and a camera on the back while they're being tracked in real time from our base. We'll have automatic locking doors and no external markings or symbols on the vehicles. They'll be completely nondescript. You won't even know that our vehicles are delivery vehicles. One other thing is prevention of diversion, or plan to prevent theft or any type of loss of product. To prevent diversion, we're going to be using unmarked vehicles. We'll be using only online sales and potentially in-person debit card transactions. We're using Metric, which is a seed-to-sale tracking software that tracks every sale from the time the plant is the seed in the ground to the time it goes to a customer's hands. We are tracking and monitoring and filming this entire journey. So we'll make sure that that person who's purchasing it is the person who placed the order and they are legally allowed to purchase the product. Our drivers will be trained to stay in constant contact with dedicated personnel that will monitor every delivery route, and routes will be randomly generated through an API. We'll be on contact with our drivers through satellite and cell phone. Green Flash is going to have a very strict ID requirement process, either to enter the building for staff or to purchase products online. All of our advertising will only appeal to audiences that are at least 85% of the audience is over the age of 21. All of our purchases will require valid ID check online and verified again in person on camera. There will be no packaging or design that will be used that might appeal to minors. Our facility is compliant with all state and city requirements. We'll have robust air filtration systems. There will be no odors. We'll have well-lit surroundings. We'll have 24/7 camera coverage and monitoring of the site. There will be no exterior signage, advertising, or any symbols or any type of markings on the buildings or cars. It will basically be a ghost in the community. No one will know who we are or where we are. Our site, our parking, will own and lease all of the vehicles that we use for delivery. They'll be inspected, insured. They'll carry liability insurance, and all of our vehicles will be locked overnight, either at our address or a place of business, at our place of business, or a location provided that the state approves. And just, what we're offering is safety and compliance. We're giving people safe access to legal cannabis that has been approved by the state of Massachusetts. We'll be checking people's ages. We're giving job opportunities, increasing security, and giving people a chance to participate in a new industry. What we will not have, and what we are not, is we are not a retail storefront. There will be no cash registers. There will be no customers, no marked vehicles, no signage, and no customers on our property. At this time, I would just like to say thank you for taking the time to come in and hear our presentation. And I'll let Jeysaun take over from here.
Okay, and yeah, once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining in as the 51% owner and social equity applicant of Green Flash Delivery. Is truly an honor to have a business partner who both from Boston, both from a strong Boston community, and we both handle budgeting. I represent the $8 medium network. Mario represents the 247,000. Between the two of us, our goal is to really shorten that wealth gap between it, and one way we do believe it is through this process we have right here. So we look forward to you all's continued support, and we open up for questions. Jeysaun, it's on you, young man.
Thank you, Dwayne and Mario, for the presentation. As they've stated, we are now opening up the floor for any questions or comments. We're all adults here, so people can start taking themselves off mute. I just ask that no one speaks over each other. Like I said, the meeting is still on recording, so if you do not wish to be recorded, you can just keep your camera off, okay? So I do see a question in the chat, so I'll just read that out. Is there a buffer zone conflict?
There is
not a buffer zone conflict.
Thank you, Derek. So if anyone has any questions, you can come off mute now, or if you would like to, raise your hand and I'll call on you. But I don't mind having an open floor.
How do you raise your hand?
Cool. So you should see
I'm not on camera.
Yeah, you should see it in the more section and then go to reactions. And there is a little button that says raise hand.
Okay.
You also could have just spoke. No one else is rushing to raise their hand. The floor is okay. I'm going to mute myself.
I am Alice Signori. I am Mario's mother, and we fully support this. This is not because he's my son, but because we've been watching this since its inception. We are so proud of the diversity of this venture. This has been the most important matter to me and to my husband, for the community. We had the same concerns that have been expressed by others. It's just very important. My husband and I fully support this. We want to see this go ahead. We want to see it succeed. We welcome all the job opportunities it brings to the area. And if anybody has any questions of my husband or me personally, I'm happy to answer them. And I'll mute now unless I'm asked a question.
My name is Nadine Lambert, and I have several questions. One of my questions I have is your supporters. Are they going to be publicly known who your supporters are, or are they going to be ghosts, as most people are using that word today?
Yeah.
And what type
Nadine.
of support are you talking about?
Nadine, if I may, Jeysaun, would you like to mention the support letters that are in, or would you like me to mention that?
No problem at all. So Nadine, the process, as this is kind of a city-related question, anything that goes in, be it letters of support and or opposition, are sent into the board. So that can be written testimony and or verbal testimony at the actual zoning board, speaking specifically to zoning as they've already cleared their BCB hearing.
Okay.
So they typically send in all letters of support, anyone who would want to send it in, speaking specifically to support, and the board would take that into consideration.
My next question is, you mentioned about you going to be a ghost in the community. What type of form of commitment or some kind of document will your staff sign saying that they will not divulge any type of information about where you're located and where the trucks are moving to and from in that nature?
Go ahead, Mario.
Our employees will sign some type of NDA, just, to make sure that they know not to talk about it offline in business, but we're looking to hire people who are looking for opportunities to expand with our company, who want to be part of a team, giving them good benefits, taking good care of them, and making sure that they care about this company just as much as we do. And we also have documents in place with a positive impact plan and a diversity plan to make sure that we're hiring people who want those opportunities and will appreciate it and be loyal and positive employees.
So with that type of quality control, will you be having background checks?
Yes, every person will be going through a background check. If someone has in their lifetime been convicted of a small cannabis crime, such as possession of a small amount of cannabis, and it's a record that they have from a time in their life when cannabis was legal, we're working with a nonprofit called the Big Hope Project to help them get rid of those criminal records, but when they work with us, so that should they continue to work with us, we'll keep them happily employed, but it will open up other job opportunities for them they weren't able to get before. I have friends who were arrested with a couple, maybe a roach in their ashtray, and they can't get a job driving a truck for UPS because of that conviction. And these are people who are good, outstanding citizens who made a simple mistake. And because of that crime that is now something that can be expunged, they're being left out from a lot of other opportunities. So we're looking to help them open up and clear their records with an expungement program.
And would that also include, I wouldn't say minor felons, but there are felony crimes that, a one-time mistake or have made, but yet that felony cannot be expunged, as you would say. How would you help someone like that?
Exactly. I mean, everybody makes mistakes in their lives, and we think that if it was a simple mistake, it shouldn't ruin their lives. So on a case-by-case basis, we'll be reviewing applicants that have queries. And if it's a non-minor crime, as long as they weren't selling drugs to minors or taking drugs across state lines, or they weren't doing anything violent or anything like that, we're very open to helping them and giving them a second chance.
And as for your drivers, is there an age limit? Like, would they have to be 25 and over, or what would the?
We legally they have to be at least 21 years of age, but there's, we're looking to hire people from all different age groups depending on their ability and interest in working with us.
Okay, that's all the questions I have right now.
Thank you, Nadine.
And one other thing, in regards to support, we've had support, just to name a few, from Honorable Mayor Kim Janey, from State Representative China Taylor, from City Council Tanya Anderson, and from City Council Julia Mahale. We've had cross-board of support because we are really, really touch with the community, and I like your questions because those are the things that we really are Corey friendly. So we want to make this an opportunity to not only be good employees, but create a situation where people will start looking towards creating their own businesses to be able to actually build our community stronger by not just having a whole bunch of employees, but have a lot of people who are learning how to run a business so that they can go out and in their goal of being business owners, just like me and Mario.
Yeah, and to add to that, Nadine, one of your first questions about who we had support from, we've met with most of the city councilors who've written letters of support, like Dwayne said, even state representatives. We also met with our local city councilor, Frank Baker, in his office, and they've written letters of support to us as well. There's about 6 city councilor letters of support that have come in. And we've even met with the chief of police and gone over our security plan, and they can't officially give us a written letter of approval, but they told us they were non-opposition.
And your other friend, Ms. Sullivan.
Hello,
Yes.
Hi.
did someone ask me to weigh in?
Oh, yeah, Dwayne was mentioning that we've spoken. We've been in a lot of contact with the Newmarket Business District, an organization from the very beginning of this for well over 2 years now. We've been working on this plan and bringing them information to make sure that they approved our operations, our security, and staff. So we've been in close communication with them as well.
I was gonna wait until the end, but the association has vetted this over the last couple of years. We have met on a few occasions. We have met with abutters and neighbors, and there was not opposition to this given the nature of it. And the association has voted to support this endeavor. We don't take this very lightly. We have been opposed, as many people will know, to any dispensaries and all in the area. I know a couple people asked about the distance from schools, which we're very, very involved with the Mason Elementary School and the Orchard Garden School and all. This is outside of that, the distance it needs to be, as well as more than half a mile, just more than half a mile from the nearest cannabis dispensary. But this is very similar in our mind to when the Bully Boy Distillery wanted to open up their distillery literally across the street from the back of the Mason Elementary School about 11 years ago. And the whole idea with that was that no one would know they were there, that it would be a passive distribution facility. And the school actually supported it, given that how they were going to do it at the time. And it was exactly as depicted. No one knew for years that it was located there because it was a nondescript building with just distribution from trucks from their facilities. So we looked at it as a light not a light manufacturing use, as a light industrial distribution use. So that's why we voted after a lot of deliberations to support this.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank
So
you,
I
Sue.
see Deb T with her hand up. Also, once you ask your question, if you mind just taking your hand down, just so I know which folks haven't had a chance to ask their question yet. Also, anything put into the chat, I'm going to read out once we have all hands down.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. My name is Deborah Tennant, and I'm actually full support of Green Flash Delivery because I know Derek and Mario will hire within the community and give back to the community. I know Derek has also given back to the community for, always. So again, my support is for Flash Delivery.
Thank you.
My name is Deidre Lewis Farmer. I'm also calling in support for Green Flash Delivery. I look forward to working and seeing what they bring to the community and to the space. And yeah, so I'm definitely in support. Every time they have a meeting, I will call and support. So thank you.
Adrian?
Yeah, my name is Adrian Simeone, and I am from Boston Salads and Provisions. We're one of the tenants at 225 Southampton Street. And while, we've had a chance to talk with Mario and his mom regarding how the operations would run, and we don't have any specific concerns about the safety of our employees or the impact that it would have on their work life for the most part. We do have some concerns about the logistics of the space being used. This is a common shared dock, which we have just about half of the business used for our food distribution company. And anyone that's familiar with Southampton Street knows that that's a pretty busy street. There's a lot of tractor trailers and trucks that back up to the various docks on that street. So it can make it difficult for someone who is exiting out of that parking lot to safely negotiate a turn. There was actually just an accident there last week when I was leaving work. But we also have concerns in regards to the congestion of the area. We have employees that are working now in our distribution center, and we also have future employees that we're going to be coming over. We just finished cleaning the second floor offices after a mold mitigation issue from the previous tenant. So we understand that they are going to be needing parking spaces taken from our space in order to make that possible. We need to work out that kind of negotiation as far as I understand it before moving over. And our distribution center employees also expressed concern about whether or not the running of the business, you have the two carports that are going to be right on the front dock. That is also abutting where our distribution offices are. And so they have some concerns about whether or not there's going to be noise and disruption in terms of when they're making phone calls and they have customers coming in. I don't know if anyone is on from Arctic Ice, but we had also heard some shared concerns from them. So if anyone is from that company and wants to speak about how they feel about the issue. But for us, it's a logistical issue in terms of having three separate businesses running distribution out of a shared dock that's really wasn't really set up for three different businesses. It's really kind of set up for two. So that's the concern that we have as a fellow business owner.
May I? First, I'd like to address congestion. This location actually housed three businesses before, and the third business, which was Slade Gordon Fish Company, left. So there's one less business actually running there now. We would replace them and take on the third business. So that would not be an effect. We'd actually be reducing the amount of congestion because we'd be hiring local employees that could walk to work. And we have three parking lots we have access to. We have two offsite parking lots that are 40,000 square feet and could park well over 100 cars. So we won't be needing any parking from you. We'll be taking over loading docks that belong to another business that aren't being used by Boston Salads or Arctic. So that won't affect either business there. And there will be no noise because we're using hybrid vehicles that are much quieter than the large industrial diesel trucks that Boston Salads is using. So we're actually reducing noise and congestion. And we won't be crowding the dock. The way we design this is so the loading dock will flow just as normal. We'll have a sally port that might close the door for maybe 3 minutes at a time. And after spending days on that loading dock, I realized that Boston Salads, for the most part during the day, doesn't even have people traveling across it. So we figured, on 3 minutes at a time, we shouldn't affect your business at all. And the way it's set up, we'll be reducing the amount of large trucks going through the area, and that we're actually taking cars off the road with our business traffic studies showed that delivery businesses actually reduce the amount of cars on the road. So we've been looking at this out of concern. Being an environmentalist, I want to make sure that we don't have any negative impact. But by using fuel efficient vehicles, we're reducing traffic and taking other people off the road.
This is actually Lynn's off check. Can you hear me? I don't know
Yes,
how to
hello,
lift
Lynn.
up. I don't know how to lift up the hand. But one of the things about Boston Salads is that, well, for one thing, it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be any traffic over there, because we're hoping to rent out all that office space that we now have upstairs. And so we don't know, and we probably will be totally used. But the other thing is that Boston Salads is under the auspices of the USDA as well as the FDA. And in federal government, marijuana is illegal. So even any of our employees, when they have testing, they're tested for marijuana. And if they have marijuana, they've been using marijuana, they are not employed. So that is one of the concerns, is if we decide, because that was one of the possibilities when we rented that or leased that space, is that we could also use a production. And if it's a production space, it is under the USDA inspection. And therefore, the use of, I don't know how the building also being used for marijuana distribution would affect the viability of that building for our use.
I'm happy to answer that question. Hello, Lynn, very nice to see you again. Yes, so two things. It's a separate address, and no cannabis will be coming through that building. It'll all be coming through a special passage, an exterior passage that's secured. So no cannabis products or fumes or smells or anything that could possibly affect an employee will be coming through the building. Our vault will be an environmentally controlled, sealed vault, so you'll never smell anything. And it would be absolutely physically impossible for any type of cannabis to get into your employees' systems from a secure vault on the third floor. They would literally have to smoke or consume or eat an edible. There's no vapors or any type of smoke or anything coming from this building that could possibly affect your employees. So it's completely safe for this site to be co-inhabited by a USDA and FDA approved company with our site next door. As you can see by very successful dispensaries that are co-located next to daycare centers here in Boston and not affected by it, where there's never been an issue and no children or anyone have been tested positive for cannabis from being within the area of a dispensary.
Also, how would you guys be getting up onto the third floor?
So we'll only have a few employees that are at the site, probably 3 or 4 people tops. And quite honestly, we'll probably just take the stairs. No products, no cannabis products will ever go in the communal elevator or the stairs. That'll go through a separate secure elevator.
What is the communal elevator? What's the communal?
That's the elevator. There's an elevator that goes from the first floor up to the second and third floor.
That's a communal elevator?
Well, that is used by you, and it also goes to the third floor.
So how is that secure? How is that secure if you're using, I thought that was our elevator.
Well,
it goes up to the second floor. Do you have not another way of accessing the third floor without actually going through the building that we've leased?
Employees with no cannabis products, yes, are allowed to use the stairs and the elevator.
Then how is our offices safe? How are they secure?
Well, the 3 employees who will be on site during the day, they may take the elevator or the stairs up to the third floor. There will be a fob in the elevator, so only those employees can get off on the third floor. And if you go up the stairs, you have to go through a series of security doors to get into our vault. So your employees will absolutely find it impossible to get onto the third floor.
I'm talking about your employees getting on the second floor.
We won't be going to the second floor.
No, I'm not saying, how are they prevented from getting to the second floor, or anybody else for that matter?
Well, they have to travel through secure doors. There's a secure door in the front with a fob required to enter the building. And then our employees will only be going to the third floor. They're not going to be exploring the building, and they have no intention of going there. And I'm guessing you're probably going to have a door to close your offices to keep people out. Is that right?
I didn't realize that when my husband had leased the building, that he was aware that anybody could go into the second floor.
I don't know anything about the second floor. That's your floor. We don't have anything to do with it. And I don't have any intention of
But
using it or coming on there.
It means that everybody's open to what, anybody who comes into there with your fob is actually have access to our office facilities.
May I interject here as the property owner?
Yes.
The way it is now, as I understand, if somebody goes in the front door, currently they can go to the third floor, they can go to the second floor. There is, I know that there's a way of securing the door so that somebody would have to be buzzed in. So this would allow that the third floor employees would either have to use a fob to enter the building or be buzzed in. And if Boston Salads wanted to secure that entry so that they could restrict people from walking into the building, they can buzz people in. There's a radio, I believe a transmitter that one can buzz it, you know, that they're there and be buzzed in from there.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that if I may just jump in here and help out. Lynn, I'm pretty sure your offices have a locked door to get in them to keep strangers from walking in off the street and going in there.
Actually, I'm sorry, but Mario, I mean, when my husband leased the building and we were renting the space to Slade Gordon, that was because that was our choice. It wasn't like, okay, anybody who has a fob can come into that building. It's people that we said, okay, it's all right. It's not like, okay, so you have a key to lock an office door. We have other buildings that have office doors too, but we have more security than that. And we're not saying, okay, anybody can come in, but we'll lock your office door. To me, that's not security, especially in that area.
Excuse me, I'm not suggesting that just locked doors are the thing. I'm talking about entry from the main door can be buzzed in. Anybody can be buzzed in, or those people who are allowed entry can have a pass code the way we have on the other side of the building.
Yeah.
You enter your code, and it identifies that that person has entered the building, and it registers that person with their own particular code that's been assigned to them has entered the building, and it keeps a record of people who leave and enter the building.
I'm going to jump in, but we have a national security company that's come in and designed a way to keep the building secure. The only people who are allowed to come in and go to the second floor are people that you've leased it to. They will not be able to access the third floor, and our 3 to 4 employees will never go to the second
I'm not concerned about
floor.
the third floor. I'm concerned about the second floor.
The second floor is not my property, but we don't plan on entering or having any access to it. So I think if you have a lock on your door,
we should keep our doors unlocked at the 2 other places we own buildings, because people there could say to us, they don't plan on going into the building.
But
That's not security.
I don't understand why, if there are 3 employees for the third floor and they've been cleared.
Alice, is that part of the lease? Did the lease say to John that anybody that you give permission to can go up to the third floor?
If the people are renting the third floor, they're certainly entitled to
So
go.
in other words, that's in the lease?
Why would it be in the lease?
Exactly. Why would it be in the lease?
So
Why would it say?
I think we're getting off track here.
You're
We're getting off track
I think
here.
it's something that, there could be further discussion regarding this.
Yeah, this is
Between
a
the
simple decision of people
there's
locking the
most
door on the property they
definitely
lease.
additional conversation
Thank
on
you.
this, and I can facilitate that through my office.
Thank you.
But I definitely want to make sure we can address any of the other questions. So Lynn, I'm just going to put my contact information in the chat below. And then please make sure that you send me an email, and I'll make sure that I follow up while we're on this meeting, just so you know that you have my email, and we can set up this conversation in which this can be facilitated as well. But I do want to take any other additional questions, as Calvin and Christina have had their hand raised. And then I'll just read anything off in the chat. And Lynn, if you're still here and no one else has any further questions, we can revisit that. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is well. I just wanted to extend my support for this company, not for any reason other than I'm also a social equity applicant. And I do know the extensive security measures as well as other measures that are in place to ensure that whatever products that we do have in the facility, whatever licensing you go through is very extensive and thorough. And I would love to support another social equity applicant. So that is my thought, and I'll land there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I ask anyone who hasn't spoken and or would like to give any questions, comments, and or feedback, just raise your hand now. And Alice and Kelvin, if you can just put your hands down. So I do see DJ. DJ, if you, yeah, oh. Does off check? I've seen you in here for a little bit, so you can definitely come off mute.
Oh.
I'm just gonna mute myself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, sorry, my picture's dark. My name's Damien, and I was the general manager, vice president of Boston Salads up until about December. And I was aware of what was going on in the building. Mario made it very clear to me I think I first met him in July of 2020, and he kind of explained what his business was about, how things were handled. Obviously, a lot of those questions come up. Well, how are you going to do this and this? And he literally has an answer for all the different problems surrounding such a business. And I had also worked, my father was very well aware of it, that we had talked. Mario would relay to me what his intentions were. I would speak to my father and explain what Mario was trying to relay. And he didn't really have any issues with it. He explained that, you know, there's certain rules and regulations and they were going to comply with all of them, which is why they were going to have an elevator on the exterior of the building that was a non-person elevator and the whole carport idea. So this has been something that we've been talking about for well over a year and a half. As to the building concerns that Lynn brought up, hi, Mom. These were all in the lease when the lease was signed, and my father was very well aware of the fact that all the challenges that were presented with leasing the property, there was a lot of shared space. There was a lot of intermingling that was unpreventable. We share a loading dock with Brookline Ice, and I guess it's Arctic or Glacier or something now. So there are a lot of common areas on the first floor, and there was common areas on the second floor and the third floor. So this is stuff that I could explain to them outside of this. Very well aware of. But I think Mario, I do support his business and it's his ideas, and I think he's really got it together very well. And I hope it works out. He just seems to like he's done his homework, and he's got a really good attitude towards the community, and he's got a good entrepreneurial spirit. Okay.
Thank you, Damien.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll move on to DJ and then Chops, and then Brian, I see your hand raised as well.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How you doing? This is David from Big Hope, nonprofit based in Boston, or 501c3. I just want to show my support for Green Flash. They've been in the community for as long as I can remember. They support the Black community, so I just want to show my support.
Thank you, TJ.
Thank you, DJ. Chops, you can come off mute.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Batras, and I'm also a social equity participant. And yeah, I'm full support of Green Flash. I think, you know, I got on a little late, but it sounds like a lot of the concerns are, you know, things that the governor and, you know, all the CCC already took care of. And I think they're going to do a great job. So, you know, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chops.
Thank you. Brian, you're next. Also, I just once again ask anyone who's spoken, who raised their hand to speak, if you could just put your hand down. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. This is Brian Keith, Roxbury resident. I just want to go on record in support of Green Flash. Mario and Dwayne, as you can see by their presentation tonight, they're two very experienced and professional operators. They're going to bring cannabis to the community in the best way it can possibly come. And, you know, delivery, as Mario mentioned, delivery is better than retail, because the biggest concern that I've always heard about retail and cannabis is the lines that are caused, is all of the cars that it brings. This is different. This will bring the cannabis directly to the doors of customers versus the customers coming to this location. So this is good. This is good for the community. It's good for the jobs and the amount of payroll that they'll be bringing into the Black and brown community. So this is a win-win for everyone. This is a win for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Kai, are you on for Black Market Nubian? If so, you can come up and unmute yourself.
Yeah, actually, it's Chris Grant. That's her husband.
How you doing?
Hey,
Thank you.
Hey, listen, we just want to go on record as Black Market in support of this project. I'm actually not just a business, but I'm a resident, and Dwayne is actually my neighbor, and known Dwayne for a while, known his father, know his family, and just very quality people and trustworthy. And I believe that, you know, what they said they're going to do. I think their character is there. So we are definitely in support of what they're doing, and we're listening and watching closely. You know, we just don't want to say we support it and not do anything, but we actually want to be able to be there for them if they have any issues or whatever problems they may have, that we could be able to help them solve those problems. So we just want to go on record and support. That's it.
Thank you, Chris.
All right.
Stephen, I see you have your hand raised. Go ahead. Okay, Stephen unraised his hand. So I'm just going to read off a few of the things put into the chat. So Brooke Crane asked, how will you work to reduce the stigma surrounding cannabis use?
Would you like me to take that? Okay, I'll answer that if that's all right. One of the things is we're using cannabis, which has been deemed a safe and legal medicinal plant and been voted to be legalized here in Massachusetts. We're going to be using it to create jobs and opportunity. Lynn, I'm sorry, could you mute your computer? Thanks. I'll just wait till she as soon as Lynn mutes her computer, I can speak again, as she's causing a reverb. Lynn, just hit mute, please. There you go. Thank you, Lynn. So we'll be using cannabis to create opportunity and wealth within the community in Boston, especially in the community that's been mostly been disproportionately affected by cannabis in the past. So we're going to be using this operation to create wealth within the Black community in Boston. We have plans in place through our partnerships with Big Hope Project and the Black Net Worth Development Association. We're involved with them. They'll be watching us. They'll be checking our operations. We give them full transparency to make sure that we're actually doing something to help people. And we're working within the community to hire people and looking to create funds and opportunity for people to get cannabis off their records. People have been arrested, specifically Black people have been arrested more than white people by ridiculous percentages. And it's time that we end that. And by using this fund, by using this company to help people who do not deserve to be incarcerated and helping them get this off their record, we are going to help destigmatize a medicinal plant that should be legal and safe and have access to everyone over the age of 21.
Thank you, Mario. I'm not seeing, Stephen's back in here with his hand raised. Stephen, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. I got disconnected. I worked in Roxbury for well over 30 years, and I found that a lot of the young people who wanted to work in my particular job couldn't because of the quarry. They were capable and they were willing. I think that this organization will provide opportunities for many which they would normally not have. I fully support Green Flash. I think it's good that people will have the opportunity to take care of their family. I think it'll be good that they'll have the opportunity to learn about business, become more business minded. I think one of the problems is the perceived notion that people who distribute or smoke or whatever marijuana is a negative thing. Nowadays, things have changed. I like the security system that's set up by this organization. I mean, they seem to have covered everything. I would feel secure as a tenant or a neighbor to them. That's basically all I have to say, but I'm definitely 100% behind them. And I wish them well and success. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen.
I'm not seeing any more hands raised. Anyone who would like to offer a comment, any questions, feedback, and or just general suggestions for the presentation team, please raise your hand. All right, I see you, Will. You can come off mute.
So I'm in two meetings at the same time. So I just want to give my support to Green Flash Delivery. This team is solid. They have a good plan. They're making sure that the community is staying protected and informed on this whole process. And I think that, like, you know, sometimes we need a little bit more education on what we're saying, because some of the questions could have been answered if anyone did their homework and like actually looked at the plan itself, and they would have known some of the answers to the questions before they even asked them. So yeah, I just want to give full support. The community supports Green Flash Delivery.
Thank you, Will.
Amori Taylor, I see you. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amari Taylor. I am Dwayne's daughter. And I just wanted to briefly extend my full support to both my father, Dwayne, and Mario. I think that they've covered every aspect of the business. I was really happy to hear of the security measures that they took into consideration. And once again, I'm very excited to see where this business goes. And once again, I'm in full support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amori.
Thank you, Amori.
Put your hands down. I would definitely appreciate it. If we have anyone else who would like to give any questions, comments, and or feedback, or leave anything in the chat, please do. But I don't see any other questions for the presentation team. Yep, they answered those two. Okay, yep. All right, not hearing or seeing anything else. Lynn, were you able to send me over an email and or just grab my email? Just want to make sure we can follow up.
I think Lynn hung up. I'll be in contact with her too, Jeysaun. This was a new opposition that just came up. This morning, she decided to oppose us, even though I've been in communication with her company for almost 2 years now. There's just a recent change in management. So she's new, she doesn't know what's going on, and I'll be reaching out to her and explaining all of this and giving her an opportunity, putting you two in touch.
Yes, please. Can you just make sure I'm CC'd in all communication, Mario?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I just have my call in the room. But if anyone else would like to give any feedback, any questions, comments, and or support our opposition for the project, please let me know now.
Obey traffic laws, be alert, and use voice commands while driving.
Hands and or new folks folks in the chat. One, I want to thank the presentation team for being able to present today. I want to thank all of our community members and folks who just came to, one, hear the presentation, but two, offer any support or opposition, or three, offer any feedback, give any questions, and or voice any concerns. So I'm going to be keeping the meeting room open for a little bit longer, just so anyone who would like my contact information can take it, but I will be closing the meeting out in about 3 to 4 minutes. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jeysaun.
Thanks, Jeysaun.
Thank you, Jay, and thank you everybody who came in to show support for Green Flash Delivery. Thank you all.
And
Yeah,
thank
we
you,
really
everybody.
appreciate everybody for their time
Really do.
and your support. Thank you.
Don't forget, get your green in the flash. Ebony and Ivory. All right, thank you all. I had to get that song in. Thank you all so much.
I gotta get out of here. Love you, Dwayne.
Bye, Amori. Thank you.
Bye. See
All
ya.
right.
So much, man. Greatly appreciate it.
No problem, Derek. I'm just going to make sure you're CC'd in the communications between Mario and Lynn as well. And I know you all have your hearing on the 5th, so I'll
Yeah.
be there.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to send this meeting recording over to you all as well.